Lavelle. Ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! And they are back on terms!
Hello, good evening. Hello, welcome to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and we're back in business with a win on Tuesday night. Not plain sailing, and there's plenty to cover from it. We'll cover that, and then we've got Saturday for our last league game for 3 weeks as we try and extend the gap at the top of the table. We have Michael with us. We keep messing around with his camera. Good evening, Michael.
I don't know whether it's right way around or not. I can't tell.
Okay. It looks as good as it's going to get, I think.
Well, it's got me on it. It's not going to be that good, is it?
Will Daniels is back with us. Thank you for joining us, Will. Get the words out there.
And a pleasure to be here. Good to see you all again. It's been a while, but here I am. Okay. And let's do this. Let's do this thing.
Danny Ogden-Glazer is with us. Thank you for joining us, Danny.
Evening, chaps.
I hope everybody's well. I thought we'd start by covering off some bits of business that we need to cover off. First of all, let's cover Saturday. Coming up is the Red Gloves. I've not got that right, Danny. What's it called?
It's the Red Gloves raise a hand for the hospice for the fundraising initiative.
There you go. It's a catchy name, but it is brilliant. So on Saturday, there were loads of places.
Wait.
If you followed club account,
I'm going to get my red gloves. Hang on.
Go on. If you follow the club account, you'll see already Rex has been speaking about it. There'll be red gloves available for you to purchase and donate to Rotherham Hospice. Everybody's going to be wearing them. It's going to be brilliant. Get your hand in your pocket for that.
Yeah, I will do. It's going to be a lot better raising funds for hospice wearing a pair of red gloves than it were that rag I had to wear last time. We raised money for a minute, so
True.
Happy days.
Money for charity is money for charity, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that was a step too far last time, weren't it?
Nobody made you do it.
No, it wasn't.
And also, now that the game against Sunderland has been postponed, we can now officially say what we're going to do. We mentioned doing an all-day podcast. Danny shows your red gloves. There we go.
There's a quick notice: you can't use electronics with them. But anyway,
that's fine. Next Saturday, because the Sunderland game has been postponed, we are going to be doing a 12-hour podcast, 12-hour live show through across YouTube and Facebook, to raise funds for the Ukrainian Red Cross appeal. We've got a few different things lined up. We've got 2 former players agreed to come on. Ooh. Trevor Berry, for anybody who's in the 90s, remember Trevor Berry. Trevor Berry is going to come on, and potentially Adam Lafondra is going to come back on. He said he will. If it fits in with his schedule, we're hopefully going to get Alfie back on next Saturday. And we're going to work on two or three other things. It's going to be 12 hours of us talking Rotherham United. England game will be on. And we'll try and raise a couple of quid for the terrible stuff. I almost swore then. Terrible stuff that's happening in Ukraine. Keep an eye on the socials for that. Right. Thank you, everybody. Shall we get on with football? Tuesday night, a 2-1 victory at home to Lincoln City. Mick, for the first probably more than half the game, everything were looking hunky-dory. We were brilliant. We were comfortable. Let's talk about the positive first half. I thought the first half was the best half of football we've had in some time.
We were back on it, weren't we? We were back on it big time, and that's what we've been at. That's what we've been looking for since probably Sunderland, I guess, at home. That performance was outstanding in first half. We'll come on to the second half later, I guess. But yeah, it's great to see. What a time of the season to start putting in a performance like that. Absolutely fantastic. It was just electric, wasn't it? And it's a shame we couldn't have got bagged a couple more goals as well. Outstanding at first half.
Yeah, absolutely. Will, where does that first half, as of 45 minutes? We'll come on to the negative later on, but let's savour that. There was some superb individual performances, and then it just gelled as a team as well, didn't it, that first half?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that is the best first half since Sunderland, as Mick said. We looked possessed, to be honest. Really important that we hit the ground running in these 2 games this week to go into the international break with a bit of a buffer on MK Dons, and we looked like we meant business in that first half, definitely.
And not far off, Danny. Let's talk about the lineup now. Not far off what we would all consider to be our strongest 11. You can maybe argue the matter question, which we'll go on to in a minute. But that team is, if we can keep Mikel Miller fit, if you keep Chio fit, keep Smithy fit enough, keep JJ fit, that will be enough to see us over the line. But there's lots of ifs and buts as well in there.
Yeah, definitely. And like I say, it is more or less our strongest 11, bar 2 or 3, I think. But yeah, the one player I want to highlight in that first half is JJ, because he was everywhere across that front line against Lincoln. He absolutely terrorised him. And yeah, fair play to him. That is what we want to see from pressing football. That really up in the face and not giving him a time on the ball. All right, it dropped away in the second half, which we'll mention in a minute. But in that first half, we did to Lincoln what MK Dons did to us in the second half. We just went at him, all guns blazing, got 2 quick goals. And in actual fact, the game against Lincoln is a complete reversal of the game against MK Dons. Because I think, yeah, you know, two goals in the second half, and they responded in the second. But yeah, that first half, wow. It's a shame we couldn't keep that going over 90 minutes, because the scoreline could have been anything. Yeah,
it could. No, absolutely could. We'll come on to some more. Everybody's joined us on YouTube. Thank you very much. We have the Grundys. We have Steve, Gav and Scott with us. Either Kelwicks with us. Paul Brook, Kev Johnson, S64 Miller. Donna's with us. Reese Kellick, Tip Top, Michael Mortimer. On Donna, I should actually mention this now, really. Danny, you got the score prediction right.
Hey.
I think for the first time this season we've got a score prediction right. So apparently, Donna, you might even win a sign, Danny. That's all I'm saying, Donna.
Cool.
Well done, Danny, for getting the score prediction correct.
Thank you. I just want to say, if Warner does watch these podcasts, please don't take my score prediction as how we want to see the game out. It's like, oh, give Danny the sign, we'll concede one in second half. No, please don't do that. My blood pressure can't take that.
No, they definitely can't. No. I don't know if mentions here. I just thought Ben Wiles played really well, Mick. Let's start with individual performances, because there's some superb performances. And I think Ben Wiles is one of the few that for the full game I thought he was superb. I don't think his performance will drop off that much compared to others. But certainly the first half, I mean, what a player. He could have had a couple more goals, to be fair.
Yeah, he could have done. And if you watch that goal back that he scores, the run from him through there, and the ball obviously helped him out a little bit. But his control when that ball came to him, because he was reaching for it a little bit, it was outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. But he does so much work off the ball, you know, creating space for other players, making those little runs, and trying to make the game, trying to change the game constantly. A lot of that work that he does is unseen. He's one of those midfielders that, you know, you don't really see a lot of the time because of the work that he does off the ball and creating space for others. So he's a hell of a player, mate. Honestly, he is a hell of a player. And you know, I said this slightly tongue-in-cheek, but he's too good for us, mate. You know, he is. He should not be playing in League One. He's far, far too good to be playing in League One, and hopefully next season he won't be. He'll be playing in Championship. So, and that's at least his level.
Yeah, he doesn't always have the most. He doesn't always shine. Sometimes, Will. His performance is pretty steady, but he doesn't always shine. And so when he does shine, we're also going, look, he is amazing. He just not always show it, just doing all the dirty work and things like that. But Tuesday, first off, was his time to shine. I saw you put on Twitter that he was like a man possessed. He was just that good, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think I wrote something along the lines of he needed a drugs test at half time. Don't advocate taking drugs, so hopefully he's not done that. But yeah, I mean, he could have had a goal before the actual goal that he scored as well. But on the night, just absolutely unbelievable. And I think one of the things that I've noticed in these bigger games is you need those players that can come out and demand the ball and play with real courage. And that's what we saw from Ben Wiles on Tuesday night. I was really impressed with him. And as Mick says, I think sometimes we are a little bit harsh on Ben because we can see the potential that he's got. And for me, he is He's going to be a championship player next season, whether that's with us or not, remains to be seen. But, I'm just really enjoying watching him play. And I think just on a couple of stats from Ben on the night, he actually won 60% of his duels of all duels on the night. And I think he won 75% of his defensive duels as well, which for me is really important. And obviously, going forward, goal and assist isn't too bad either. So great night, and hopefully we can see a few more of those by the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. And the ball for his goal, Danny, from Rathbone was again superb. We don't associate with Rathbone with that type of thing because he is just all guns blazing for 95 minutes of the game. But that were a beautiful little pass.
Yeah, it was, and to say he had the the fans on him telling him to shoot as well, because we were expecting something like Wigan, weren't we? To be honest, but that slide rule pass to Wiles was inch perfect. Wiles has timed his run really well, to give him credit for that, and he's finished just that little arc into that far corner, brilliant. But yeah, that goal easily doesn't happen if Rathbone's ball is either passed wide or as a go at goal. Because let's face it, he's not going to score because there's too many defenders in front of him. So Rathbone's read it perfectly, played the ball through. Wiles is sweet as a nut. Like you say, Will, I think he does need testing for drugs. I reckon he's took some paracetamol before the game, and that's giving him an edge over everybody else. But yeah, great finish from Wiles. And then he goes on to assist Chio, which, all right, his goal may have been a cross, but we're not going to take it away from him.
Well, yeah, he said it was because he even said himself that it were a cross, and we all knew at the time it were a cross. But he deserved the goal. The team deserved that second goal. Yeah. Steve Grundy's here. Danny's already mentioned it, but he thinks JJ was man of the match. Mick, we'll go to other players. I probably think man of the match, but JJ was everywhere all the time. He won loads of things in the air, which is what you don't. Again, although he's a big lad, we don't necessarily say Smith is going to win stuff. JJ won more than his fair share. He's showing his quickness. He tired, but he just was brilliant again.
Yeah, he was. He was outstanding. He was outstanding with that really sort of impacting the game from a goal or an assist point of view. But his work rate is immense, and it's exactly what we need in this team, isn't it? We've got to. All 11 players, goalkeeper included, have got to have that work rate, and he's got it in spades. And he's got, like you say, he's got the pace. He's got everything that you want. Really, just needs to get some game time and hopefully get a few goals under his belt, which I'm sure he will. We know he can finish with sinning finish. So it's just game time for JJ now. But yeah, we're brilliant, absolutely great, and it's great to see somebody coming through the system like he has, like Ben Wiles has, and others, that it shows that things are working in background as well, doesn't it? Working properly, working well.
Yeah. And him and Smithy, they linked up beautifully. You can often see when somebody comes in and they're not played that much together, it takes a moment or two, but they linked up brilliantly, and that's a really, really good sign for the future, hopefully for the future.
Yeah, I think overall Smudge probably didn't have his best game on Tuesday night, but what he does really well is he's just worked really hard for the team, and that's obviously rubbed off on JJ because I don't think there was a ball that he didn't chase on the night. We call Ollie Rathbone the Duracell bunny, but I think JJ might be pushing him on that really strong performance. And the only thing that's missing from his game at the moment is the end product, is the goals. So hopefully we'll see that further down the line. But yeah, really, really impressed. And certainly in terms of, the opportunity that he's been given the striker situation that we've got at the moment, he seems to be grasping that with both hands.
Yeah, definitely. The only contentious moment, Danny, was the foul on the keeper that wasn't given as a foul. I've seen a lot of Lincoln fans very upset with JJ because it was late. They claim it was going late on the keeper. I personally just thought it was going for the ball. I haven't seen any other replay to suggest otherwise. What's your view on that? For me, he's got to go for it.
I think the one thing we can say about replays is that if there's a contention for like a serious foul, they tend to show it on like the replays and show, has he got away with one there, that and other. And I haven't seen anything replaying that. So, I mean, In the same sense, I haven't seen any replays that show the potential penalty on JJ in the second half as well, because it could be one of them where it's like 6 of one, half a dozen at other. Again, maybe in this league, if we had VAR, it'd look at it differently, but we don't, so it's down to the referee's decision there and then. But yeah, I didn't see anything up with it at the time. It's just going football, in my opinion.
I agree. Upset a lot of Lincoln fans, which I suppose is the bonus, isn't it?
Goalkeeper dived into him, didn't he? Goalkeeper's gone football, and rightly so. It's fair. And he's managed to dive into JJ as he's done it. They just come together. So referee got that right. In fact, to be fair, we might come on to it, but referee got most of the decisions right.
For the most part, yeah, I think you're probably right. In the second half, he sort of went a bit inconsistent.
Yeah,
it was nothing major, I suppose. But then we didn't want any players setting off, did we? So Lincoln fans will disagree with that. Somebody else that you have been championing for a long time, to be fair, a lot of us have, Mikel Miller made his first start in a while in the league. Again, for as good as Chio was, for me, Mikel Miller was certainly in the running for man of the match. I thought he was absolutely everywhere. So quick, so skillful. Maybe didn't get the assist or whatever, but he's so dangerous, isn't he?
He's a nightmare, isn't he? He's an absolute nightmare for defenders. Yeah, I mean, if we can keep him fit, what a player. What an absolute player he is. He's got everything. He's got just about everything. The only worry inside of him, he's also got a bit of a stupid foul in him.
He nearly gave a staff element first half, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But if he can clean that up out of his game, he is a right player. He was definitely man of the match for me. Like you say, he was absolutely everywhere. Even in that period towards the back end of the game where we were kind of struggling a little bit, he was probably the only player that was trying to press higher up the pitch to keep the ball away. He was the only one. But he's got the pace to get back again as well, hasn't he? Yeah. So I like him a lot. Man of match for me, in my view, on Tuesday night, Miller.
Fair enough.
And possibly, what I would say is he might be a game changer for the rest of the season. Keep him fit, and he could be the man that just sort of tips that balance, if there's a balance to be tipped, that is.
It just gives an extra bit of option and extra versatility with Fergie and Tutu on bench. Chio's going to play in most games wherever possible. And then those three, Tutu, Miller and Fergie, are probably going to interchange throughout the game, throughout the 8 games we've got left. It's just a great option, another great option. Anybody else that stands out attacking? I'll talk about defence in a minute, Will. But is there anything anybody else attacking wise? Any moments from the first half, particularly, that sort of stand out?
I mean, Ogbene is just Ogbene, isn't it? Just what more can you say on him? Just took a quick look at the season stats, and I've just seen that he's created 43 chances from the dribbles that he's had this season, which is the second in the league so far, just behind Dapo Afolayan. So obviously really important to us. And yeah, got a goal on the night.
I thought we were good defensively. That Bramble's obviously a very quick fullback, and I kept him dead quiet, and the goal came from when Gio wasn't with him, which we'll come to again in a minute. Let's talk about the defence again, Danny. Again, this is more of a first half or first hour talk at the minute. I thought Joe Mattock, there was a lot of talk on Twitter pre-game about Joe Mattock being selected, getting a little bit of stake, people questioning why he's playing, which I get those questions. When you got Angus and Reg up, I understand the questions. But Mattock answered all those questions, and so first half, we were in the middle of everything, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's done all right, hasn't he? He's definitely looked. I don't know if you've actually seen the criticism before the game. He probably hasn't, because why would you look on Twitter to see people abusing you before a game? But I think anyone who had questions over Mattock, like you say, he did answer them, especially in the first half, and for the opening probably half an hour of the second half as well. He has done very well. I think he's probably got in ahead of Angus or Reg, probably because they still maybe Angus can't do midweek to weekend because he's not really been in the first team fold for too long. Same with Reg, he's just come back from a stint being injured. So yeah, it could have been a little bit of that and a bit of experience on that left hand side, a bit more defensive because of Miller going off on his travels up front very effectively, I might add. So yeah, Matic turned out to be a very good addition, I think.
Yeah, no, he did, definitely. Right, that's enough positivity. Let's rip into him for a bit.
Here we go, proper Millers fans. Let's have a good moan.
And then it was about the substitutions. First substitutions came on the 67th minute. Barlas had picked up a knock. I think it was a groin knock. 5 old minutes. Well, he didn't come off straight away, but he picked up a knock. So Barlas essentially had to come off. So the change was Barlas for Angus and JJ for Wes. Wes Harding was the change. We talked about this at the time. Everybody's talked about it since, Mick. Let's talk about how it affected the game before whether it was right or wrong, I suppose. The change in formation really hurt us. Whether it should or shouldn't is, again, probably another conversation, but it just didn't work. With the changes that we made, just invited pressure, and the nerves crept in around the stadium, and it crept into the players, and it just felt like something bad was going to happen, and one of those 2 goals did.
Yeah, it weren't great, were it? It weren't great. I'm not entirely sure, looking back, what they were trying to achieve by making the substitutions that they made. It just didn't. It didn't. I don't know. It didn't seem right. I know we ended up with something like 6 defenders on pitch and 4 attackers, and that was it. It was like it was just a bit weird. It was just a bit peculiar, but look, we got through it, didn't we? That's all I'm going to say about it. Really, I think we got through it, and I don't understand why why they made those changes the way that they did. I don't get it. I'm not going to be critical of them. They will have thought about it. They will have discussed it. They will have discussed it as a team beforehand. This is what we're going to do if this happens, if that happens, or the other. People should have been aware of what their roles and responsibilities were. Whether they were the right choices, probably in hindsight, they probably weren't. But I'm sure the decisions were made in good faith. And, that's all you can say, really. We didn't lose. We didn't draw. So.
Thank you, Donna.
Yeah. So we changed from a 3-5-2. We changed from a 3-5-2 to essentially a flat back 5 with 2 midfielders, with essentially 3 attackers. And we ended up with, it felt like a defender too many on the first set of substitutions. We ended up with a defender too many, and I agree with Mick. I understand the bringing Barlas off because he's injured, but we had a Doffin on the bench. So it would have, for me, in my I'm not. We don't know that much about football, but for me, Barlas for a Doffin seems a really straight substitution, not disrupting too much because we weren't playing badly. It's not like we were battering us and we needed to change everything. They just seemed like they were trying to be a little bit too clever, is what I thought watching it.
I think if you look at the 3 substitutions overall, they were all pretty much enforced by the sounds of it. Now we hear the presser afterwards. Sorry, JJ obviously blew up, so we needed to make a decision there. And obviously Ollie and Dan came off with knocks. So we went to a 4-2-3-1, or what eventually ended up being a 4-5-1. And it just gave Lincoln a lot more time in the middle of the pitch to be able to work the ball into wider areas. And that's where we saw a lot of problems caused. And it's difficult to know how to talk about the situation, to be honest, because I don't think it was something that we prepared for in any way whatsoever. In what situation would 2 of your best middle 3 come off the pitch? That just won't happen. And given the situation that we've got with injuries at the club anyway, it didn't feel like there was another option other than to do what we did. Whether it was right or not, we can argue until the cows come home. But in the end, obviously, we got through the game, as Mick said, and that's the most important thing. And giving credit to Lincoln as well, they saw the situation and they seized upon the moment, didn't they? It's not like we were playing hazed under 9s or something. This is an astute League One side that know exactly what they're doing, and they caused us a lot of issues, and we've come through it and we've took 3 points, and that's the most important thing at this stage.
No, yeah, absolutely. Danny, anything to add on the substitutions? Will's right. The injuries are an issue because if Jamie Lindsay's on bench and fit, then it is a different situation. Go on. Anything to add?
One thing I'll add in terms of how it affected the game, it completely killed the way we pressed Lincoln, and I think it's because we took away some of the main pressing options. We took Barlasser, but went off, and he's like the little anchor in the defence. The quarterback, as Warren calls him. JJ were running all over the shop as well, and then Rathbone went off, and he's like we said, the Energizer Bunny, and he just runs everywhere. So to take those three, I would say core pressing players, especially against Lincoln, it's completely killed it, I think.
I think you've got to bear in mind as well the amount of games that we've played, like the intensity that they've pressed at for 70 minutes or so was so sustained and so strong that eventually, something was going to have to give. And maybe we lost our shape, and maybe we were a little bit too deep at points, which comes down to, the mental side as well as the physical side in knowing that you can play a little bit further up the pitch. But, we're 2-0 up. So I guess from a mental perspective, you almost sit off and you know what's going to come. So you're preparing for that. So, there's plenty of different reasons for it. But, game done.
Yeah. And strangely, Michael Smith was on his backside. I don't think I've ever seen Smithy that tired. Towards the end of the game, he just couldn't run anymore because he just chased every ball down, much like JJ, but Smith is playing many, many more minutes. I don't think I've ever seen Smithy that tired.
It's been a long season, mate. It's been a long season, and the way that we play with such intensity that they've got to be immensely fit, which they are. But, they're going to start to burn out eventually. The thing is, the way that we play our football, because of the way that other League One teams play, you're forced to use a lot more energy than you would be where you're playing at a higher level, for example. Because you're not given that time to play the way that we want to play when we're in possession. So you're pressing high, you're pressing hard when you're out of possession, but when you're in possession, you're still constantly trying to have to expend energy because you're being pressed yourself. So it's one of them things, isn't it? I know we sort of raved about performance at first half and how good it were and everything else, but it's irrelevant, really. It is absolutely irrelevant now at this point of the season, and the only thing that is important is it was Rotherham United 2, Lincoln 1. That really is the only important start out of that game, and hopefully again for the remaining games. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. Danny's back with us, so I'll come to you for the next one. I want to mention, with defensively, I thought we played pretty well, and I'll come to another individual performance in a minute, but I thought Woody, towards the end of the game, in the last 20 minutes, sort of lost his head a little bit. He got that silly booking were really, really silly. And then a couple of clearances just started going really, really weird. He got right bollocking off Icky for just being a bit daft on ball. You don't really expect that from Woody.
No, you don't. I just want to apologise if your mic's still a bit dodgy. You're going to have to put up with it for a second. Oh, the magic of tweezers, having a fiddle about with the microphone. But yeah, it like you say, we don't really expect that from Woody, but then he sort of had a little spell against Hartlepool where he was like that as well. I don't know if it's just sheer desire that's getting the better of him, or the fact that I honestly don't know, to be honest. It could be fatigue and he's trying to overwork himself, but then he's making poor decisions because he's trying so hard to keep going. I honestly don't know.
A bit mad, wasn't it? That 20-minute period from him were a bit mad.
Yeah, I mean, I try my best to put my mindset into a 36-year-old footballer who's been our captain for X amount of years, but I don't know. It surely has to be pure desire to get us over the line. Has to be. Because we've learned not to expect that sort of thing from Woody. Normally he's the calm head, the leader, the organiser in defence. But last couple of games he's made some decisions that you'd expect from someone who's, just coming through into the professional game. A couple of silly challenges, silly crosses, being a bit too keen to win a ball back and nearly being sent off a couple of times. But I don't know. You can tell something's not quite right, if that's the correct way to say it, when your number two's having a go at you. It's like what's his face having a go at Picard in Star Trek, isn't it? That normally doesn't happen. But now I think it's down to pure desire and trying to get us over the line and trying to do it himself, but sometimes doing it yourself isn't the best way, and it makes you look off the team, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
One of the things that does do is it allows Michael Heckley to step up and show his leadership, which is what he did. He is, for me, a future captain. I know he takes the armband when Woody's not playing, but it just sort of starts to cement his sort of place as a leader within the team as well, because he's able to pull Woody up and point out to him the error of his ways. I don't know.
No, I agree. I thought Icky, I thought Icky had one of his best games. Well, he had a blip in it past month or so with a few dodgy performances. I thought it was almost faultless on Tuesday. I thought Icky was not far off man of the match. I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the reason that Icky's made a couple of mistakes is purely just the amount of games that he's played. I don't remember him missing too many this season, but he was a calm head in those stormy waters at the end of that second half. So we've got to get through Saturday and hope he can do exactly the same. That's the most important thing now.
Yeah, no, it is. Michael Mortimer says, if we're playing in the Championship next season, we need a new defence. Last few games have looked very shaky. I think, Michael, you've been a little bit harsh. I know for the last 25 minutes we were under the cosh, but that wasn't necessarily the defence's fault. That was because of the reason we talked about, the enforced substitutions. The defence actually dealt with it quite well, and the pressure they were under, for me, Mick, if that pressure was going to continue, we were always going to succumb to something eventually. It was almost inevitable because of the situation that they would get something, at least a good chance, which they then put away.
How many teams in the 4 football league divisions have conceded more goals than us this season?
Less goals,
sorry.
I mean, they've all conceded more, I think.
But there you go. I mean, I don't agree with that comment. It's as simple as that. We've got the best defence in this division by a country mile. We've got the best away defensive record in the country out of all 4 divisions. We're 38 games into the season and we've conceded 5 goals away from home. Is it 5 or 6? Whatever. It doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah, 5 in league, and I think it's...
Yeah. I'm with you, Matt. I think they were shaky towards the back end of that game on Tuesday night. They were shaky because nobody were helping them. It was just wave after wave of pressure. So no, I don't agree with that at all. I think the defence has been absolutely solid, and whoever you play in there, whether it be Icky, Woody, and Matic, Icky, Woody, and Wes Harding, or any combination with Angus as well in there. No, I'm not wearing that. Sorry.
And I think just to add to that, Mick, if I may, I think if you go back to the Championship season last season and put us in that situation, we'd have conceded again on Tuesday night, and I think that's testament to how far we've come this season. It's obviously not been a comfortable last 20 minutes, but we've got through the test, and that's another big tick in the box.
Yeah, 100%.
Jinx. Mike TS, how many away goals we conceded? First half away goals, still none. So yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, it's 2 if you count the Papa John's Trophy, but that's still exceptional, isn't it?
We don't count it till final, so don't worry about it.
No.
It's that time of the season, isn't it, when you start to get nervy, and it's quite clear looking through social media that we all do it. Some of us don't shout about it, but we all look for the negatives. We're all it's human nature, isn't it? To look for, well, what happens if this happens? What happens if the other happens? His defence not playing particularly well. What about Wilesy? He's never, he hasn't done this or he hasn't done that. We're always looking for something to go wrong because we're expecting it. But it's just, listen, we've got to enjoy the ride. We said this at the beginning of the season. We said it halfway through the season. This is all part of that ride, and we are going to make mistakes. We have made mistakes, and I'm sure we'll make some others. But come the back end of April, we will be in that top 2.
I think so. Jan Bibber, just on the championship talking mentions, regardless of how good we've been this season, the championship is different gravy. Just look at Peterborough as our previous seasons. Yes, I suppose, but I'm not buying the Peterborough argument, really. I might buy another argument. I'm not buying the Peterborough one, I don't think.
There's not a lot of difference between that league and this league.
When you look at that, look at the points that everybody's got in that division this season, the championship. It's a poor championship this year.
Mate, we've been there. We've been there 2 out of the last 4 seasons. The standard of football, the level of football, is very, very much the same. Pretty much the same as this division. It's just those tiny little pieces of that jigsaw in terms of being able to put the ball in the back of the net. That is it. The rest of it, for me, is all much of a muchness.
We'll hopefully see next season. Another slight negative, Danny, is something you tweeted about the day. The crowd. I get the nervousness. I'm not going to dig in a bit at the nervousness of the crowd, because I think the crowd tried to get behind the players a lot, but the emptiness of certainly the Cop. I said the family stand, so I can't tell about the family stand, but there was pockets of empty seats almost before the 90th minute. And we were hanging on in a promotion game. It was very, very strange to see so many empty seats that weren't there at the start of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even the commentary team picked up on it. Matt Goodwin made a comment about it, saying there were people streaming out when we effectively needed them the most. If you're under the cosh in the last 5 minutes of a game, I think that's when it's make or break, especially when it's 2-1. If it's 2-1 and it's 85 minutes plus, in my opinion, you should really be staying behind unless you've got an absolutely blatant reason why you have to leave. Medical emergency, that sort of level. And I know some people want to go home and put young kids to bed and everything. Okay, fair enough. But if you're leaving just to have your tea a little bit earlier or to beat the traffic out the ground, just stay another 5, even 10 minutes. Because when it comes down to especially being 2-1, in even a 1-1 as well, those last 5 minutes are crucial, very, very crucial. And it got to the point where there were so few of us, I say few, but there was so few of us left in the ground that Warney had to get us going because all that noise had gone. And I think by Warney getting us going for that last 2 minutes added time, probably just snuck us over the line, I think. But like I say, it went quiet because of nerves and everything. And yes, you can have that initial panic stage of everything, but that's when you sort of have to flip it all right, we need to get behind the team and keep us going now. So yeah, a little bit poor from us. To say we got a fair bit of praise because how loud we were at Wickham, to then flip it against Lincoln when there were pockets of the game where our end were just silent, other than odd person chatting. To me, especially when it's a potential title winning season, just to repeat myself from the last one, when it's a potential title winning season, get behind them, get loud. Even if you make a tit of yourself doing so, just do it. I mean, I'm going to the Shrewsbury game, which we'll talk about in a minute. I'm going with my mum, right? And I'm not scared to make myself look like an idiot in front of my mother, because if that's what the team needs, that's what they'll get. Just especially on Saturday, get behind the lads because it's the last league game for a little bit. Get behind them, get loud, egg them on, and let's get another 3 points.
Yes,
not 3 points against Lincoln. Let's cement 3 points against Shrewsbury.
Donna says, I thought the crowd was louder than the previous week, which I agree with, but disappointing to see people leave early. I don't understand why people leave. You don't leave 5 minutes earlier from a cinema. It's ridiculous in her opinion. I
think they're having a nice look at the new Don Street.
Maybe. Couldn't believe the look they can go walking down it. Yeah. I on Tuesday nights, the argument of beating the traffic is not on a Tuesday night. You don't get that much traffic on a Tuesday night at all. On Saturday, you do tend to get a bit more, obviously, because it's Saturday afternoon. There's no traffic on Tuesday night, ever, from my experience. We're not a ground that has particularly bad traffic anyway. I was really disappointed. Really, really disappointed. Will, anything you want to add on that?
I mean, I have quite a lot to add on it, to be honest, but I've got to be careful in terms of the fact that we're not past 9 o'clock.
We're not past the watershed yet, Will.
Exactly. I found the whole fan debacle embarrassing, to be honest. And that's maybe just the way that I view how a supporter should behave. And it's in the name, supporter. We've got to show our support for this team. And have they not done more than enough to earn our support by this point? We're at 80 points and it's the middle of March. We're on the brink of being promoted, potentially as a team that could win the league. And that's not good enough to get the fans behind our club and shouting and singing for the club that they love. Why does it take our manager to come out and wave his arms, our players to come out and wave their arms for an individual to get behind the team? I find it embarrassing. Spent most of my time singing in the Cop on Tuesday night. I think there were probably 100 other singers that were doing exactly the same. The rest of it felt really, really quiet. And in the moments that those players really needed that extra 5-10% that the crowd can give a team, we just were not there. It was embarrassing for me.
Yeah, even Jimmy, he refused to leave, knowing it and make him late for his night shift. And that's, if you're going to go to a game, if you're going to leave at half time, I accept that. But if you're going to stay till the 80th minute, you might as well stop at 95th minute.
That's the commitment, Jamie. Love it.
Love that, arriving for his night shift. Why are you late, Jamie? Rotherham game.
Did
the win? Yeah. Yeah. Did the win? Yeah. Right, let you off.
Can I just add a bit to that? and I fully agree with what you've all said, and I do. I can see exactly fully understand the point. But I still look at our attendances, and I see 9,500, 9,500, 10,000, 8,500, and it feels so different to what I am used to as a Rotherham United supporter. You know, I am used to 2,500, 3,000, 4,000 supporters. That's what I'm used to, and that's probably what Rotherham United have got as a hardcore, if you like, of support. You know, it's taking time to build it up. It's taking time to build that. I use the word again, hardcore support up from the levels that we were used to. And I know we're 10 years into this stadium now, but it's a generational thing. You know, these things take a generation for people to start to become week in, week out supporters. I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with it. It's just, I don't want to be critical. I do not want to be critical of anybody who comes to our ground to follow Rotherham United, because I've had so many years where there's not been enough of them. And if people come into the ground thinking, well, shan't I go again? You know, we've got criticism on social media now that not only because we get criticism for not shouting and supporting fans, we're now having criticism because we've already sold 8,000 from our own fans. We've already sold 8,000 tickets for Wembley. Where are all these people every week? Why have we got to be like that? You know, because if you're just a part-time supporter, come every now and again, I'll go to all Wembley games. What's the best way to get you to come to a Saturday game or a Tuesday game? Insult them. Because it ain't, is it? You know what I mean? I don't know. I do agree with what you've all said about the fact that we should be getting behind the team. 100% we should be getting behind the team. In the ground, on social media, everywhere. We should be behind them. And that's not blind, come on, happy clapping. I'm not saying don't be critical of it, but we do need to get behind them. But I'm not a fan of having a pop at other people at the, because they leave early or because they only come to certain games or whatever. None of us know everybody else's circumstances, but we're in a position where we're building this club, or Tony Stewart and everybody else is building this club, but it takes time. It takes time. You know, you don't just open a new stadium and go from 2,500 to 10,000 every week. Just not going to happen. It takes years. This is why 50% of Shrewsbury's crowd lives in Rotherham, you know, because generationally, dads have been glory hunters in 70s, glory hunters in 80s, and kids have followed. That it takes a long time to be able to maintain that level of support. For me, anyway, we're a small club. End of, you know, to get 9,500 every week in League One is brilliant. It's unbelievable. I would never, if you'd have told me 15 years ago, Rotherham United will be in a brand spanking new stadium getting 9,500 every week, I think you were stupid. I genuinely, I would, because it's something that I've never known in my lifetime. So we shouldn't be, I don't think we should be critical of people for doing something that we wouldn't do. I think we should be getting behind our team, but that applies to all of us, you know, everybody.
I think one of the biggest shames is that we have. I think we are in the top 5 filling of stadiums in League One. Yeah. I think we're sat on 86% filling average. I think, which for a club of Rotherham's location, with albeit bigger clubs other than Doncaster around us, that is really good. But someone just sent me the stadium plan for the Shrewsbury game, and we have only got 2 blocks that aren't red or completely sold out. And from what I've been told, red means there's less than 50 seats in a block. So North Stand completely red, East Stand red, apart from 2 blocks that have sold out. Same with West Stand, apart from 2 blocks that are sold out, and then 1 that's in amber. And then they've opened up a little bit of the South Stand as well, but I think that might be for key workers that are coming, because I've seen that they get tickets from the fan zone before a game. So we are filling the ground, which is why for me it's more disappointing when it's quiet. You know, because let's face it, 9,500 people can make a lot of noise, can't they? And when you've got 9,500 people cheering on you and your team specifically, that gives you that extra 10%. And like you say, mate, it's not that long ago since they were pulling 2,000 or 3,000 at Millmore, or sometimes less at Don Valley. So we have got a very decent following for our location in terms of Wednesday nearby United, nearby bars is not too far away. So just get into it, get involved, get singing. It doesn't matter if you make a fool of yourself singing, just don't make an absolute idiot of yourself by going on the pitch or anything daft. But yeah, best way to describe it, make a fool of yourself, but in the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't leave early if you can. Please stay till the end. At least stay to the end, please, if you can. I know some people can't. If you can stay to the end, just stay till the end. Get behind them, because they need it. Not because they're rubbish players, but because they deserve it as well. Anyway, we'll have a quick advert, and then we'll be back to talk about Shrewsbury. Thank you.
Manscaped, who very kindly decided to sponsor us. They're promoting their new product, the Lawnmower 4.0, which is kind of well known for reducing cuts and making it a lot easier to trim your balls. You can buy this separately or in a bundle called the Performance Package, which in that you get a ball toner, and ball deodorant, which are actually very handy because they're specifically designed for your balls, so they work very well. I highly recommend all of this. The lawnmower, it comes with a little light. Comes with a little light there that comes on when you turn the razor on. So it's very good. It comes with a little charging port, which is also a little holder. Yeah, I highly recommend it. I use it, and I highly recommend it.
You highly recommend it, Ben? You highly recommend that somebody goes to manscaped.com and enters the code NYT for free shipping and 20% off. So that's manscaped.com for 20% off free shipping using the code NYT. And Ben highly recommends it.
Do you know what clever bit of editing I did at the start of that? How clever it were, yeah?
Your editing's as good as that new run-out music at New York, isn't it?
Or not the run-out music. I mean, the music towards the montage on the screen.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. It's not brilliant, is it?
No. Yeah. Anyway, a couple other bits. The internationals. So the internationals confirmed that are leaving us so far are confirmed as JJ for the under-21 through Ireland, Shane Ferguson for the Northern Ireland under-21. He wishes he were under-21. No, it's Shane Ferguson for the Northern Ireland seniors. Kieran McGuckin, the youth player, has been called up for Northern Ireland under-21s. That's a step up from where he was previously. Chio hasn't been confirmed yet, but that's I expect that to be confirmed any moment now. On Kieran McGuckin, we should mention he is up for an award for Goal of the Month in the youth team. We have tweeted that out. I will also put it in the show notes. It does close on Friday midday, I think. So if you can get over voting for him, he's in second place in the votes at the minute. A couple hundred votes behind a Carlisle player. So if you haven't already, it's on our Twitter page. Go over and vote for him because it's a brilliant goal. There we go. Michael, Shrewsbury Town on Saturday afternoon. Played him, it feels like about a week ago. So we know what we're getting, really. They can be tough and solid, but they can also be got out of first half at their place. We should have won the game. So it's all down. All these games, I suppose, they're all down to us, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, they are. Well, we've said it before, haven't they? They're into team in this division that we should be frightened of. We know that. They're going to be a tough opposition, but hopefully, if we can get out of traps like we got out of traps on Tuesday night, we should be fine. This will be one of the games that they've earmarked as a 3-pointer, and us as supporters are also going to earmark it as a 3-pointer as well, aren't we? So we just need to come out of traps like we did on Tuesday, and we'll be fine. I think. I do.
Yeah. What do you think? I know the good thing about playing so long is they are. That's who they are. What do you expect from Shrewsbury? If anybody that didn't go to the Shrewsbury game, didn't watch the Shrewsbury game, what can we expect from Steve Cottrell's men on Saturday?
Well, I think they're a side that, are down at the bottom of the table at the moment, or are now pretty much safe, but down there, but don't actually concede that many goals. They've only conceded 37 goals so far this season, which is the third best defence in the league, which points to the fact that they've got a few problems up top. That said, I like Daniel Udo, who's a winger but can play up top as well. I think he's got 10 goals so far this season. Lots of pace on the break, but also create a lot of their chances from set pieces as well. So not dissimilar to us in those sorts of ways. Very flexible formation. So against us, they played a 3-4-3, but in the following games, they've played a 3-4-2-1 and a 3-5-2 against Morecambe on Tuesday, and have now found the shooting boots, it would seem, just in time, which is great. They're going to give us a little bit more time on the ball, which is good, and hopefully we can win the key battles. I think we'll probably have a man in the middle of the pitch more, so we've got to use that to our advantage and work it out wide and put those crosses into the box. But I am confident, if we can get a goal nice and early, that we can kick on and score a few more. They do concede 63% of their goals in the first half. So interesting little stat there that might just work in our favour.
Certainly after we played on Tuesday, where we went for it from the off. I wonder if that's might be another target on Saturday. We have a comment here from, I've started out, J-Boy, I heard the Rathbone's injury is serious. Is that true? It's just rumours. From my understanding, Danny, and I'm just not passing Paul Davis, Rathbone and Barlas will hopefully be training on Friday afternoon. Friday. If they train Friday, they'll be in contention for Saturday. Is that what you understand as well?
Yeah, I've just pulled up the pre-match press that Warney's done, and he said neither will train today, Thursday. So whether they can train on Friday and be part on Saturday, he doesn't actually know at the minute. They're going to monitor their pain threshold more than anything. So they're both technically in the doubt category, but I think it's Rathbone's injury that's the more serious of the two because it's his quad that's gone. But then again, we're like that for a full session. We only had 8 doing a full session this week, and thankfully one of them was Jamie Lindsay. He was one of the 8 doing the full session. So we are a little bit walking wounded at the minute, but by the sounds of the two, Barlasser is more likely to be okay for Saturday. He's basically just how much pain can they put up with and still be able to play football. That is long and short to it, to be fair. And then Jamie Lindsay is probably going to be involved because he's desperate to play, and we'll probably say he's 100% when he isn't 100% just to get on the pitch and help the team out. So yeah, but in that regard, I can see the midfield probably being Wiles, Lindsay, and Barlaser in his normal position, I think.
Yeah. Interesting. It's all about injuries, making it. We know there's good news on Friday that he might be back before the end of the season, which is good. But we're now stuck with Michael Smith and JJ. But the question is obviously on JJ. He put everything in on Tuesday. I'm assuming that Smith is going to be fitness wise all right, but you don't know because they both put everything in. So we might have to do something creative in that area of the pitch if JJ can't do even an hour or 70 minutes.
He'll be fine. He's a young lad, isn't he? He'll be back on it. He'll have been back on it today, won't he? It's not like it was me, you know what I mean? If I run like that, I'd be in hospital for 3 weeks. He's a fit young lad, isn't he? You know? So he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just to keep you up to date with what's happening in the world, some clown's handcuffed or tied himself to posts at Newcastle Everton game.
I've said that. Not funny, guys. It's not funny.
I mean,
you can't really call it funny, but the madness of it is what makes it a little bit funny. Like, why has he done that then? Anyway.
Well, I guess I assume it's Newcastle goal. He probably thought it was safest place to stand because he was never going to get 8-bit ball. But
unless he's trying to help out Jordan Pickford, I'm not sure.
I think someone tried to do it in Liverpool and Arsenal game last night as well. So I wonder if it's some
thing
organised or some protest. Yeah. Weird people.
So Everton being upset about it. Everton are upset this season. Wait till he has to come to New York Stadium next season.
Oh, we're not having him back, are we?
Come on, bring him back. Defence is another question. Will the only person I think guaranteed to start is Icky. I should point out it was his 300th career league game on Tuesday, which is a brilliant milestone. Would it? You never know because we played 2 games in quick succession. And Matic again. I don't think we'll often see Matic play Tuesday and then Saturday, so we could see a couple of changes potentially.
Yeah, I mean, the one that I'd like to see come into the side is probably Wes Harding, if possible, to manage that Daniel Udo threat. And as you say, Woody might not play because of the 2 games in a week already. I'd be tempted to say that he would start just because they've got Ryan Bowman up top, who's quite a handful. So they might just think, well, we've got an international break to come anyway, so he can rest up and all that sort of thing there. But yeah, that's probably the area where there'll be quite a lot of change. Lots of change potentially. Lots of difficult decisions on that left-hand side as well because, you know, Mikel Miller's had an unbelievable night on Tuesday. But Shane Ferguson, I think, could be really important to the quality delivery into the box and a few chances on Saturday as well. So, Warney, it's over to you, mate. You've got the tough decision again.
Not half, yeah. Danny, what would you have done left-hand side? Obviously, my question is going to be asking you about Miller's fitness, which obviously you can't answer that. But we've got to make sure we're managing properly. I don't think we'll see Miller do another 90 minutes so quickly afterwards. For me, in my head, it makes sense to start Fergie, 60 minutes, 65, 70 minutes, and then give Miller a blast for 20. That's my head. What do you think? What does your uneducated mind, like my uneducated mind, think?
Thanks for that one. I'm going to be really kamikaze with my approach to it. I think because we've got the international break coming up, I'd go all guns blazing. First half, all guns blazing. Personally, like kill them off with pace in the first half. Like Will says, they have a goal in them conceding in the first half. We might go funny again, but anyway, you have to put up with it. I'm sorry. But yeah, all guns blazing. We've got a nice rest. We've got all the key players coming back towards the end of the international break. I'd just go for it. To be fair, all guns blazing, killing off with pace. And yeah. Just try and hurt him with pace and go for it.
Yeah, agree. We have referee what is Anthony Backhouse. Every referee I research, I go, I don't like that name. And then I realize the only ref is against Portsmouth, one being 4-1. So I'm just constantly scared of bad referees. But unbeaten in 6 games against Shrewsbury as well. Last 6 games, 4 wins in 6 games for us, including the playoff final. S64 Miller would like to see Warney start Reg again. S64 Miller said it was amazing against Hartlepool. Didn't agree with that. I thought it was very shaky against Hartlepool. But yeah, if Reg comes in, it's hardly a worry, is it? We've got another question here, Michael. Dean Catley wants to know, how many more wins do we think he'll need to get promoted? Sitting on 80 points with 8 games left to play, 7 points ahead of the MK Dons. I think we're still 4 ahead of Wigan still, but they have 2 games in hand still. Still 10 points, Mick, or so 3 wins and a draw, or more or less?
I reckon so, yeah. 3 wins and a draw. I think that make it very, very difficult to catch, won't it? Because that'll be at least 3 games that they can't outscore us on points wise, you know what I mean? So I think 3 wins should may not guarantee it straight away, you know, if we win the next 3 games on the bounce, but I think 3 wins will see us just about over the line. And are the next 3 games not all at home?
No, because the Portsmouth one's been popped in the middle of there, hasn't it?
Oh, has it been popped in the middle, was it? So that the final one then is it Ipswich on Good Friday? Is that the next home game?
No, we've got this one, week off, then Sutton at Wembley, then Charlton, then Portsmouth, then Ipswich, then Burton.
So the Ipswich Burton game could be the games that we're targeting to get automatic if everything goes to plan between now and then. Yeah.
Well, who knows? Because MK Dons have 2 more games in hand to us, aren't they? Because of the games that we're missing, or likely. I don't think we have many internationals.
Well, we're going to have 2 more games in hand to them, you mean?
Sorry. Yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's not what I said. Will, do you think that sounds about right? 3 wins and maybe a draw in there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm greedy. I'd like 8 wins, but
yeah, definitely.
3 wins and a draw sounds about right. I'm still, even at this point, nervous as hell that we'll throw it away just because we've got so many games in such close proximity. But yeah, I think 3 wins and a draw probably does it. Hopefully, in coming to the end of the season, we'll play a few teams that are on the beach as well, and potentially throw a game for us. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I've been saying for a little while, it's all about either matching or improving our results from previous in the season, and we're still doing that. I think we've only got a worse result once so far in our second game round. Tuesday again, we drew Lincoln first time, beat them second time. We're still improving on our original record, and our original record was ridiculous. MK Dons, MK Dons and Fleetwood are the 2 who haven't improved upon. So it shows the position we're in, Danny. We're in. I'm exactly the same as Will. I'm still very, very worried that this is all going to go badly. But if I'm outside, if I'm a Wednesday fan, for example, I'm thinking Rotherham have done, they're up, aren't they? But it's just difficult from inside. Yeah,
I think so. I'm going to be optimist here and say, why can't we win our last 8 games? Why not? You might say injuries and potentially this, that, and other, but I don't know. I'm always the optimist. Why can't we win our next 8? You know, I agree that maybe 3 wins and a draw will probably see us over the line in terms of promotion. Let's not forget we need 6 wins and 1 draw for 100 points still. I'm going to keep pushing that rhetoric. Why can't we do it? You know, why can't we? Where is the stamp that says no, you're not going to do that? Like, yes, injuries and fatigue and this, that, and other, in another hellish April that we've got coming up. But in the Championship last year, it was all about the desire to try and stay up, and we nearly did it by 6 minutes in the end. This season, we'll look at it and go, right, let's get it over the line this time. Warney will use that motivation to keep pushing the lads on. And everyone says, "Oh, I won't mind if we don't win the league and get promoted." It's like, yeah, I agree. I want to get promoted as well. Imagine if we become. I don't know if will be the first, but imagine if we are one of the first teams to win a double from League One. Imagine, the town will stop functioning for a week, won't it? Shops will be shut saying, "Sorry, come to the pub to celebrate the double." That needs to be the motivation, not just for fans, but also for the players. Do it not just for yourselves and your career, but for your family. Like, if we do a double, this squad will be heroes in Rotherham's history books forever. So let's go for it.
I will. Yeah, but that's team talk for Saturday. That.
Yeah, one you can clip that. I give you permission.
Yeah. Let's get excited, Millers. Let's get excited. Let's get behind the boys. Last game before a little break. So let's get on it. And then it's Wembley. A couple of some score predictions. Mick, for Saturday, score prediction, please.
2-0. I think it's a clean sheet this time, and I think we'll win 2-0. 2-0.
We're due a clean sheet, aren't we?
Yeah, man.
One game we had one. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Will?
Strike while the iron is hot, 1-0. 7th minute.
Early. Danny?
3-1, I think.
3-1 thinks we're going to concede. What's all that about?
Well, we tend to concede at home and not away, so...
That's true, yeah. I'm going to do 3-0. Let's be positive, shall we? So we've got Harvey Kelwick in the comments. 2-0. 2-0. Steve Grundy, 2-0. Donald London says 1-0. Russ Burns with me says 3-0. So does Jamie. So does Dean. Yeah. I like the positivity. Well, if we get promoted next season, people won't be as positive in the Championship. But yeah, there we go. I think we've checked about everything off the list. Is there anything else, any other topics, any other mentions that I haven't already covered? I'm sure there's probably something.
No, I don't think so. The one thing I'll say to back up my score prediction is I'm happy if we don't lose. If it's another 0-0 against Shrewsbury, I won't be so completely disappointed, because at this point in the season, it's not about I'm going to contradict myself and say it's not always about all guns blazing and scoring loads of goals past them. As long as you don't lose, you're still in the fight, really, isn't it? But
it's about matching McDonald's, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whatever MK Dons do, just match it.
Yeah, exactly. If we had another game midweek or the weekend after without the break, I wouldn't have said all guns blazing. But because we've got a little rest and people coming back, all guns get blazing. Let's go for it. 3-1, easy.
Easy.
I've said that. We'll lose 1-0 now. Oh dear.
Brilliant. So thank you all for getting involved. Don't forget to pick up your gloves on Saturday to donate to Rotherham Hospice. In terms of how our episode's going to work, we'll do an episode on Sunday because that'll be the review of the Shrewsbury game. There then won't be an episode next Thursday, Friday, because we've not to talk about, because there's no game. But as we've already mentioned, we're doing the all-day podcast last week, and while we're recording, Alfie's confirmed that he's going to come on. Adam LaFondra is going to come on next Saturday to talk to us again, which I'm so excited. I've already spoken to him once before, but I'm so excited to speak to him again. Trevor Berry is coming on, and I can't wait to speak to Trevor Berry again because he was a legend and all. Working on 2 or 3 other things. So if you want to join us next Saturday and donate to the Ukrainian Red Cross Fund, that is for us next Saturday. Brilliant. Mick, anything to add on top of that?
Just so we're not doing a podcast on Thursday because we've got nothing to talk about, but on Saturday we'll do 12 hours.
Yes. It's for charity.
I'm just trying to work out how that's going to work, mate. Whatever.
Well, we could do on Thursday, but then we have less to talk about on Saturday.
Yeah, that's true. You never know. Ben might make an appearance as well.
Ben has said he's going to turn up for most of that day.
Has he indeed?
He has. Don't know. Will, you're welcome to join us as well, unless you have a live.
Thanks for invite, guys. Thanks for playing a 12-hour thing without even asking me.
Well, you can follow Alfie and not have much of an act to follow.
Yeah, nice and easy. Cheers.
Brilliant. And Danny, pleasure as always. Thank you for coming. And Will, it's pleasure as well. Mick's pleasure. Everybody who's listened, thank you for being with us. See you next time. Freddy's on one-on-one. Freddy Kenny shoot container shot. Yeah!
Apologies to the neighbours.